I might jump an open drawbridge or Tarzan from a vine, 'cause I'm the unknown stuntman who makes Eastwood look so fine. Of course, last night I decided to unwrap this present given to me last year and gave the first episode a spin. And by golly, Miss Molly, it was a great time. Of course, this is a simple and childish excuse to insert the opening moment in those great titles, or should I say titles, of the lovely Miss Heather Thomas in that stunning string bikini. And as another depraved excuse, I want to flash an image of her right now. Ooh, absolutely divine. And if memory serves me correct, Miss Thomas never did nude scenes, just the tasteful but playful, bashful blonde that she actually is. So of course now, when I heard that this was being turned into a film, I actually ignored the trailers because I thought this can't surely be the same Fall Guy movie that's been transferred from that great TV show of its time. Lo and behold, it is. In fact, I was so resolute and stubborn, I never bothered to check whether Ryan Gosling was playing Colt Seavers, as made famous by the great man himself, Lee Majors. Turns out he's playing the same CS. But who was playing Jodie Moreno? Would it be Sydney Sweeney? No, Emily Blunt. I love Miss Blunt. I think she's a gorgeous, attractive, very funny actress when you give her the right script to read, but never in a million years would I picture the 41-year-old English Rose as a prime candidate to play Jodie. I mean, would I like to see Miss Blunt in a bikini? Of course I would. So it is with a sigh of relief I can absolutely recommend you watch The Fall Guy on the biggest screen that you can find near you.
Do you want to make out?
Nope.
Because I don't either. It's not what I'm into right now.
Making out?
Yeah.
What are you into?
Talking.
Yeah.
In fact, this film was so good, so great, and I'll get to those reasons as well. When I finished my viewing this morning, I went straight to the ticket machine, pumped out another showtime for next Tuesday. So, The Fall Guy, I'll be seeing you then, and I cannot wait.
Makeup! Can I get some powder? Thanks. How do I look? Do I look cool?
The name's Nukem. Duke Nukem. No, I'm not here to kick ass or chew bubblegum. I'm not here to get even with those alien bastards for shooting up my ride either. I'm here to tell you to watch Jason King on Kung Fu Hot Dog. So watch out for him and his babes of the 1980s.
You're a wild bitch.
Sheriff murdered, church meeting bombed, reign of terror must cease.
And one more thing. Hail to the king, baby.
Help me!
So the story is pretty simple, and in fact, I would say to you, do not watch the pilot episode of the series because they've pretty much borrowed elements from that and thrown into here. So maybe it's to my detriment. I shouldn't have watched that first episode, but I don't care because I'm a kid of the 80s. I wanted to get that nostalgia once again. And by golly, the one thing I would say about this film, I wish they had set it in the 1980s because then they could get away with a little bit more. But for what we get, and you know, they don't forget to skimp and save on a few things. In fact, one of the biggest things I like about this film, it's not even set in America, it's set in New South Wales, Australia. I guess for budgeting restraints and being a bit more free to do more crazy, explosive stunts, which you can't probably get away with these days on the streets of LA or New York, that's for sure, because those areas are becoming so overpopulated, aren't they? Like, you probably end up killing a pedestrian if you do a simple drive-by stunt in your local neighborhood. So Ryan Gosling plays the lead character of Colt Seavers, and one thing they do actually miss out from the TV series, which I think was a very important point to mention, as Lee Majors said in the very first episode to his cousin Howie Munson, who doesn't actually feature in the film, by the way. When you're a stuntman in Hollywood, you can make $5,000 in a day, but on other times it could be residuals you get, or you might get very bit part jobs here and there. So the basic plot for The Fall Guy 2024 is this: Tom Ryder, the world's greatest action movie hero, as played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, goes missing. Who is his stunt double? Colt Seavers, of course, and he must track him down and bring him back to complete the film that he's currently working on. But why this gets a bit more complicated, Tom's manager, Gail, as played by the lovely Hannah Waddingham with the big wobbly knockers, is also his manager and producer.
Everyone has their story of a nightmarish actor, or a moment with an actor, or something crazy in the tabloids of...
So long time ago, Colt Seavers and Jodie Marino, now in the TV show, Jodie and Colt are actually cousins. I know what you guys are going to tell me, but Jason, Heather Thomas played Jodie Banks on The Fall Guy. I know. I had that grey matter flashback last night when I was recording this review. I kept thinking, I'm sure it's Banks, it's Banks, it's Banks. But for the sake of making a love story, both the main leads of Blunt and Mr. Gosling are boyfriend and girlfriend who about 18 months ago had a nice fling, then suddenly something bad happens, and 18 months later, Colt Seavers is back on the grind. He's doing a valet parking job with a very cool motor car, by the way, I've got to say. And if you're wondering if the GMC pickup truck appears in this film, it does. It looks badder. It looks more brutal than ever. General Motor Company's the greatest company ever. And for me, when are you talking about an iconic vehicle in a TV show? That 4x4 that Colt Seavers drives around in. I tell you what, the one thing I've got to say about watching The Fall Guy again, you have to appreciate they actually used real locations to film in. You can see 7-Eleven in the background, other businesses that got advertised for free. You'll never get the likes of that again, will ya? So basically now we find Mr. Seavers in Australia to rekindle a romance with Miss Marino, who has now been promoted from a DP to a director, thanks to the woman that hired Seavers. So already there's going to be this fireworks flying all over the place, and fireworks quite literally is what happens.
Hello, Emily.
Wow, bit of a frosty hello, didn't...
Not at all.
Because there's a very funny moment where the very pissed off, very angry Miss Moreno, once she learns her stunt driver is none other than the man who left her high and dry 18 months ago, is now her mystery stunt driver. Well, she puts him through the ringer, almost quite literally, in a movie called Metal Storm, and I'll get to that one later on. But obviously, when I thought about the casting of Miss Blunt as Jodie Marino, the first thought that came to mind, now brace yourselves, ladies and gentlemen, the next sequence you're about to see has no budget spared, but it's me talking to an imaginary version of me as Don Simpson back in the day. Are you ready for this? Because quite clearly, this was meant to be absolutely done on a very big, massive budget. So I hear you're casting The Fall Guy. All right, Sydney Sweeney, I hear she's an up-and-coming kid. She's got big knockers. Why don't we get her to play the role of Miss Marino? Well, Mr. Simpson, sir, we can't really afford Miss Sweeney at the moment. She's charging $20 million a movie. Really? $20 million a movie? Who else you got? Well, we do have Miss Emily Blunt. She's a rather good actress and she's very seasoned. Yeah, and how much is Miss Blunt charging? Well, she only charges about $5 million a movie, sir. Okay. Hire her, fire her if she doesn't want to take the role, and then we'll try and negotiate a contract with Miss Sweeney. Is that understood? Yes, sir, it is. Can I get you your soy latte now, please? I told you, no expense spared, folks. And then when we get from that point onwards, and I have to say, even though I joked about Miss Blunt appearing in a bikini, once or twice in the film, she wears bodysuits. And my golly, John Krasinski is one lucky fellow. If he's not tapping those ass cheeks once a night with Miss Blunt, I will gladly take his place. But oh my God, she looks amazing. She talks about having revenge Pilates and getting a bang up body, which quite clearly shows. Miss Blunt obviously keeps herself in phenomenal shape in real life. And I've got to give it to Ryan Gosling as well, because you forget this guy is not who I would call a A-list actor. In fact, the term A, B or C listers doesn't really exist in the vocabulary anymore when it comes to movie making. It's all about who you really like to see on a billboard and on the big silver screen. That used to be my dream once, and then nobody wanted me. Because I'm now delegated or relegated to the guy in his room who talks about pop culture and what the hell's going on with it. But Ryan Gosling, this guy is such a likable dude. Yes, he's Canadian like Ryan Reynolds, but the thing with Mr. Gosling, when you go back to things like Lars and The Real Girl, the guy can absolutely kill it with a performance. And it makes me want to go and watch Blade Runner 2049 again now, because that was a very underappreciated film, but I do remember liking his performance in it. So he's a fantastic guy. And you know what? When I think about the Metal Storm movie in this game that they're working on, it's the fictional movie, I wonder if it might be turned into a real film, because I can't give away what happens during the making of that pretend movie. If you remember Machete with Danny Trejo, hell, that was just literally a spoof which became a real movie. I'm wondering if we might get a similar, not Streisand effect, but if people like Metal Storm in the movie of The Fall Guy, will it translate into a possible future David Leitch project? David Leitch, who is that, you ask? He's the other directing partner for Chad Stahelski on 8711 Films. But what I think Mr. Leitch has actually done, he's formed another split-off company called 87 North, and I believe they are actually based in Australia, hence why the film is set over there. I mean, when you think about Keanu Reeves and the first John Wick film, he kind of springboarded those guys into the limelight when it came to doing incredible action sequences in movies. And I will say The Fall Guy doesn't let up. It makes you appreciate the real heroes of action movies, which would be the stunt men and stunt women in the movie industry. They're the people whose fleeting bodies you'll see doing the most dangerous stunts to make their leading man or woman look absolutely incredible. Now, from what I've read online, Mr. Gosling did some of his own stunts, and quite clearly in the film, you can actually see when this all happens.
Nope, we're gonna beat this shit out of him. I never forget a fist. I don't mean it like that.
This film just ticks all of my boxes. Winston Duke as Dan Tucker is great. He doesn't get in the way of the proceedings, and he and Ryan Gosling have a very good bouncing off of each other. All the other co-stars do their bit. My favorite person, actually, I've got to say, or the one who gave me the most chuckles, was a concierge called Kevin that Gosling meets earlier on, or should I say Colt Seavers meets earlier on. And what I liked about the character of Kevin, he's obviously playing a very camp, very gay, because he's so besotted by Mr. Seavers. And it's just very funny that you don't get those sort of things anymore in films. And what I like about The Fall Guy, and again, there's a fantastic reviewer comment that I saw on IMDb today, which really summed up my feelings. It's cheesy, it's goofy, it's loud. Why doesn't Hollywood make more movies like this?
Is this movie the best combination of all your favorite things?
That was the goal. I think it just felt like we could have all the things.
We could get real greedy. And we did.
It is such a simple premise, Hollywood. Make more films like this. We will go and see them. I'm watching this film again next Tuesday. It's so good. The Fall Guy might actually be my film of 2024. Dumb, fun, and full of action. What did you think I was going to say, you naughty little bots? But I will say, folks, I will say, stick around for the end credits. Something really nice happens, which made me jump out and throw my fist in the air. It was such a great moment. A lot of audience members wouldn't get it, but I certainly did get it, and it was just great. I think, and I hope I might be wrong at the time of recording this, but I do hope this will encourage a Blu-ray remastered release of the original Fall Guy series, which lasted from 1981 through until 1986, because I would gladly get my money out and buy that show all over again. And of course, it's just an excuse to enjoy Miss Heather Thomas and her glorious, perky glory. And I will say, Emily Blunt, I can't like this woman anymore if I could try, because she's just naturally funny. She's a likable person. She doesn't go for the crappy takes that Hollywood has these days. She avoids certain films that have the message in them, and she just rather appear in good, entertaining movies. Ladies and gentlemen, The Fall Guy will be an absolute resounding success, and I think if they play their cards right, the next project could be Metal Storm, or after that, or even completely the next sequel after this, should be The $6 Million Man. Why? I think looking at Ryan Gosling, he's perfect for the role of Steve Austin. I can't think of anybody better to imbue that man with a natural charisma and charm that Mr. Gosling obviously has in spades. The guy's an absolute legend. And the reason why I'm going back next Tuesday to watch this film again, because The Fall Guy is a film that's made me do the impossible. I want to go back to the cinema again and watch it again. It's that good. Now, don't take my word for it, ladies and gentlemen. You may well disagree with my review and my comments today, but honestly, it was like having a breath of fresh air being shoved back into me again. Not rectally, thank goodness, because, well, I would actually take one for the team if that were the case. But honestly, The Fall Guy, Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt, Winston Dukey Wookie, and Aaron Taylor-Johnson. Oh, and not forgetting Hannah Waddington and her great ample chest. By the way, she does have a line in the film which could be taken at first glance as very cringy, because she uses the phrase toxic masculinity. But when you realize what an unlikable character she is in the movie anyway, you realize, well, we're laughing at you, not with you. So I thought that was actually a good line to throw in, and it made a lot of sense in the grand scheme of things. So ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed my review today for The Fall Guy, which I will absolutely buy when it comes out as a special Steelbook edition for sure, I cannot wait. Leave your comments below, smash that like and subscribe button, and if I were you and if you were me, you should come back for the next video. I might jump from a tall building, I might crash a brand new car, 'cause I'm the unknown stuntman.
You want to glide? Okay. Maniac. This stuntman's crazy.